Muchas gracias, Presidenta. Señorías, señor Comisario.
Thank you very much, President, honourable members, Commissioner. Let me say right away that the rule of law is at the heart of our political action. Our union isn't just about a single market, it's about a community of values. And these values are being threatened in a geopolitical environment which appears to be more hostile with every passing day. And our union will only be able to thrive if all of us, member states and institutions of the EU, stay united in protecting and strengthening these values. And may I underscore here, again at the outset, that I am speaking here as presidency of the Council, and so I do count on your understanding when it comes to the limits of my remarks here today, particularly when it comes to a matter that pertains to Spain's internal affairs. I do think that it's important to underscore that there is barely precedent in this institution to discuss a law that has not even been passed in a member state. In the past, amnesty laws have been passed in Spain. This is also the case for other member states who have passed similar laws without a debate being held on those matters here in this House. And this is unequivocally an internal matter, internal to Spain's constitutional affairs, that will need to be discussed in Spain's national parliament. What's more, the bill under consideration already safeguards Europe's values and laws. Now, if the Spanish Parliament decides to adopt this law, it will be subject to the scrutiny of Spain's Constitutional Court, and those members were appointed in line with constitutional norms that have been in application for several decades. And if it is deemed approved, then it will be executed as is normal. This is a national issue, and when we're discussing national matters here in this House, it can sometimes undermine our values and democracies. Questioning national laws can sometimes undermine European interests, which goes against the aims of our EU institutions. Aligning a normal procedure in member states like an amnesty with other procedures that were clearly exceptional from the point of view of rule of law can create confusion. Using matters such as defending rule of law in the EU may lead to a situation where actually we're unable to defend these values when this is used for political aims. We believe, therefore, that it's important to ensure that debates are properly set out in the right context. So what has the Council been doing when it comes to the rule of law? This has been a priority throughout the rotating presidency for Spain, and the General Affairs Council has worked on this since July. There has always been at least one item on the rule of law, and 2 meetings were held on the rule of law dialogue. Rooted in the Commission report on rule of law in September, there was a cross-cutting debate which enabled ministers to look at the broad trends emerging in the EU, and in October there was a country-specific debate looking at the cases of Denmark, Germany, Ireland and Greece, among others. What's more, we have poured considerable efforts into assessing the dialogue itself 4 years on from the last review in 2019. Our aim now is to enshrine in the Council conclusions the current approach that has been strengthened by our debates around rule of law. And I believe that this has been overall an extremely positive experience. We have reaffirmed the Council's commitment to move forward with the Article 7.1 procedures currently underway. This was debated last week in the General Affairs Council. And this enabled the Council to receive from the Commission a specific picture and an up-to-date one on what's happening on the ground in the countries that are subject to the procedures outlined under Article 7.1, particularly when it comes to the recent legislative reforms and the political evolution in those countries. President, honourable members, Commissioner, I would like to make the most of this opportunity to state here that as a member state, Spain has always been fully committed to the key elements of rule of law in our union, specifically when it comes to the separation of powers and the independence of the judiciary. The various Spanish governments have supported unconditionally the participation of the EU in matters relating to rule of law. Our cooperation and our dialogue with the Commission in this area is unreserved. And since 2020, this has included drawing up the annual report on rule of law, which gives all of us a clear picture of the situation when it comes to the rule of law across the whole of the Union and in each of the member states. We take the recommendations extremely seriously, as well as the concerns that are set out by the Commission in its report on Rule of Law 2023, and we are actively working to tackle those issues next semester. Spain will be one of the member states that will take place for the second time since 2020 in the country-specific debate in the framework of the Council dialogue on rule of law. And, as always, this is something we're looking forward to eagerly, and we will participate in a constructive manner and in an open-minded way. We're very pleased to have this opportunity to review and debate in depth the main elements of rule of law in Spain. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Commissioner Didier Reynders. Please.